There's a piece of financial advice so ubiquitous, it's practically scripture. Skip your daily $7 coffee, invest the difference, and eventually you'll be a millionaire. This is known as the Latte Effect. Coined by personal finance authors in the late 90s, it triggered an absolute obsession with auditing our tiniest daily purchases to build wealth. This chart shows the glaring problem with that math today. While we agonize over a tiny sliver of espresso, the average car payment sits at $700. Groceries spiked 25%, and childcare regularly outpaces college tuition. Giving up a minor luxury leaves a systemic budget crisis untouched. It also creates a distraction, preventing us from looking at the actual reasons our expenses keep growing. For decades, the standard checklist for everyday people was spend less, max out a 401k, open a Roth IRA, diversify, and use dollar-cost averaging. But the average working kid tracking multiple schedules and trying to get dinner on the table doesn't have the bandwidth to decode high-level portfolio optimization, and the data backs this up. Researchers who study financial literacy have consistently found that a large majority of Americans struggle to understand basic concepts like compound interest, inflation, and risk diversification. Telling an exhausted consumer to just invest their money is like telling a novice cook to quickly whip up a perfect soufflé. It ignores the steep curve of practice and determination actually required. Because technical mastery is such a high bar for the overworked, the most effective starting point is a behavioral defense. The focus shifts to stopping money from disappearing into an economy designed to make buying effortless. The first major drain on modern wealth is driven by social expectation. We have deeply ingrained norms around what a standard event or holiday is supposed to look like, and those baselines are constantly shifting upward. Take gift giving. Adults often end up sending the exact same monetary value back and forth in a continuous loop. Over time, the expected value ratchets upward, meaning a gift that used to be considered generous is now just seen as adequate, forcing both sides to spend more to avoid feeling inadequate. We do the same thing with casual events. A beach day used to require a towel and some sunscreen. Now it demands specialized gear, heavy-duty coolers, and matching aesthetics. Basic hangouts mutate into catered, themed productions. Consciously hosting a low-key hangout with frozen pizza sets a new precedent. It gives everyone in your circle permission to scale back their own spending and levels the social playing field. The second pillar requires taking a hard look at how we are sold those experiences. Advertisers are incredibly adept at attaching a mass-produced product to a highly desired emotion. Watch a car commercial. Are they selling you a heavy, gas-guzzling piece of machinery? Or are they selling you a ticket to nature, freedom, and independence? They convince us the vehicle is required for an experience you could easily have without it. Or consider global apparel brands. Millions of dollars are spent crafting messaging around empowerment and independence, while the harsh reality of their overseas labor costs paints a drastically different picture. When you actively deconstruct a commercial's emotional manipulation, you build a vital mental defense. You start to see that you do not need to buy their plastic commodity to access the feeling they're advertising. This graph shows how lifestyle inflation actually works. As the income line steadily rises over our careers, the expenses line immediately rises right alongside it, wiping out any potential savings. The human brain requires variance to recognize a stimulus. When you finally buy that luxury item you've desired for years, you eventually lose interest and get used to it. The luxury becomes normal, and you have to acquire something even more expensive to feel that exact same thrill. It forces a really uncomfortable question. Do you want to actually possess wealth, or do you just want to spend all your money trying to feel wealthy? And much of that spending falls into the fourth pillar, the convenience illusion. This is the heavy financial cost of managing a daily routine that we have overcomplicated. Because our schedules are stretched to the breaking point, we pay premiums for grocery delivery, home cleaning services, and app subscriptions. We outsource our basic survival tasks just to keep our heads above water. We end up creating a life that requires constant purchase support just to sustain it. A massive chunk of our monthly budget is simply a self-inflicted tax we pay to tolerate our own schedules. Stepping out of this cycle is what sociologist Juliet Schor calls becoming a downshifter. These are people who deliberately step off the consumer escalator, choosing to live with less so they can actually reclaim their time. To get there, you have to inject literal friction into your daily life. Our digital economy is built to make buying completely effortless, so you have to engineer your own roadblocks. Start with the 48-hour rule. If you want something, wait 2 full days before checking out. Next, eliminate your digital triggers. Unsubscribe from brand emails that manufacture false urgency, and completely avoid the physical retail stores designed around scarcity and impulse buys. Then, execute a ruthless purge of your recurring digital subscriptions. Removing those endless $5 micro drains from streaming services and premium apps instantly clears the clutter from your monthly budget. Mapping out a simple weekly meal plan takes 20 minutes, but it removes the decision fatigue that typically triggers expensive convenience spending. Traditional money-saving advice usually feels like deprivation because it assumes you still desire the things you are giving up. By deconstructing these invisible spending traps, your underlying desires change. You reclaim control over your own lifestyle. Saving money becomes a tool for individual freedom.